Hey guys, I'm Kent and welcome back to my channel. Today I've got my 1991 Yamaha YSR50 on the lift to do a couple of pretty straightforward installations, again from Team Calamari Racing. First up is this 12mm reed spacer. This goes in between the cylinder and the carburetor to distance the reed a little bit further, supposedly to pick up some low-end and mid-range power. So I'll get this installed on the bike today. I'm going to use some Honda Bond that I like to have set overnight, and tomorrow I'll get on the bike and see what type of power differences that I'm feeling. But should just be a matter of pulling the old stuff off and popping this in. I do have an actual Yamaha gasket, and then again, I like to use Honda Bond, particularly on these two-stroke bikes, to make sure that there aren't any air leaks anywhere in the setup. Then the other installation, which will be even easier, is this brake bar. I chose this one in black. I think it also comes in raw aluminum, but it just replaces the stock steel bar here in the back, which is literally just, I think, a bolt, just two nuts or two bolts to pull off and pop on. So I think for the most part, this is just going to be for the look, but excited to get this on as I start to clean up this bike. So I'm going to see how lazy I can be without having to move the gas tank or even the fairings. There's just in my setup here a screw to loosen the clamp to pull the carb off. I'm going to back that off and then see if I can't just pull these bolts off and get everything slipped in. Just kind of have the carb then set to the side. And then I just have these M10 or they're M6 bolts with an M10 head that I'm going to back out. All right, so you can see there where I need to clean up the Honda Bond that was left on the cylinder side. But the idea is that we're going to be placing this spacer here first, and then this assembly. And actually, since this top piece is still pretty Honda bonded to the reed, I think I'm just going to leave that alone so that I only need to deal with the gasket here. So I got all the Honda Bond off the engine and then cleaned up this side of the reed mount. So I'm going to do a thin coat of Honda Bond here to seal this, put a gasket. I also like to do Honda Bond in between the metal and the gasket. Then one more thin layer of Honda Bond on the gasket and get this all mounted. Again, the kit comes with slightly longer bolts to accommodate for the extra 12mm of space that this takes up. But that should be about it. I'm going to torque these down to 9 foot-pounds since they're an M6 bolt going into aluminum. So let me get the Honda Bond on and get this back on the bike. Okay, so I have it assembled here. This is the carburetor boot. This is the reed holder here in the middle. Then this is the new Team Calamari Racing reed spacer. Then I have some more Honda Bond. Then I have the OEM Yamaha gasket. And then I have one more thin coat of Honda Bond on the actual engine. So let me get this all secured. I'm going to torque again everything down to 9 foot-pounds. And then I think we're done with this part of the install. As you're tightening the nuts up, make sure that you're doing it in a crisscross pattern so that you're not unevenly loading any one of the bolts. All right, so again, there wasn't much to see in that install. It was just a matter of pulling off the old one and getting this one sandwiched in there. I'm going to let the Honda Bond set overnight, and tomorrow we'll get on the bike and see if we're feeling any of that low to mid-end power that I'm hoping to pick up with this mod. But for now, let's go ahead and install that rear brake bar. All right, so on the top here, there's a bolt and a nut, and it also has a cotter pin through it. Same here, bolt nut with the cotter pin. So I'm going to need to remove the cotter pin on both sides before I back it out and swap it out. But on this side, to get to this bolt, I could try to use a box wrench to get through it, but I'm just going to pop off this rear set so that I can move it just a bit so that I have easier access to it. So here are the two brake bars side by side. They're identical in size and spacing. This one has the cool Team Calamari Racing logo. It also just has these cool lines that gives it a nice finished look. So installation on this is just as easy as removal, getting this back on, getting the bolts tightened down, and then putting cotter pins back through it from a safety perspective. So both very simple installs. The rear brake bar looks fantastic. I love machined aluminum, and I think the black looks good with the black and gray motif I have with a little bit of raw aluminum accents. And then the reed spacer looks great. I'll finish this video tomorrow morning on a ride and tell you if I'm noticing any difference, particularly in that low and mid range from a power perspective. But I'll link to both of these products in the description below. Really appreciate Team Calamari Racing supporting me and the channel. So I'll pick this back up in the morning on the bike. So I'm pleasantly surprised with how much low end and mid range power that this pretty simple and inexpensive mod picked up. I don't feel like it sacrificed too much at the top end either. But overall on this bike, I do need a new pipe. I'm still running the stock exhaust, and I know that's my big limiting factor in performance on this bike right now. Team Calamari Racing is working on reproducing their set of pipes that they had back in the day, so interested, and hopefully we'll have one of their prototypes on the bike and a video on this channel looking at that here soon. But again, I really appreciate Team Calamari Racing for supporting the channel. Look forward to trying out more products on this bike soon. Thank you everybody very much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos and keep on building.